So there are so many ways to start an Airbnb business and how to do it wrong, and I probably did all of them. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know before you start your Airbnb business, and we're going to get to it right now. What's up, guys? My name is Freedom Johnson. I am an agent and investor in 2 different states, and I have an Airbnb business. And I'm going to be showing you guys all the things you guys need to know before you start your Airbnb business. Because the truth is, this business is crazy. It is a real estate business. It's a customer service business, hospitality business, knowing your numbers business. And before you ever get started, a lot of people just don't know where to get started. So I just thought I'd give you a video to kind of give you some tips and some things to think about with some advice, sharing my own experiences of what I did right, what I did wrong, so that you guys can go into this business way more equipped. All right, so let's get to it right now. So the first tip I would have is deciding if you're going to lease or if you're going to own property, because those are 2 different business models. And your business model, you really want to get really clear on what you're going to be doing. Now with leasing, I know that's attractive to a lot of people because leasing is you don't have to put as much money down. You know, you just put the lease, and it's a corporate lease or a personal lease, either whichever way you guys decide. But rental arbitrage is you just put in the first month's deposit, furnishing it, putting it out on the platform, you know, versus owning a property is a little bit different. So really think about your business model if you're going to decide to lease or if you're going to decide to own, which business model, and just stick to it when you're getting started, okay? And then my second tip I would say is think about what type of units are you going to be putting on the platform. Is it going to be homes? Is it going to be 3 beds, 2 beds, 1 beds? Is it going to be condos? Is it going to be tiny houses? Is it going to be tiny houses on wheels, mobile homes, A-frames? All of these different architectural types. Really think about what type of unit you're going to be putting out, because that will have a say in the location and everything, where you guys are going to be looking at your properties and putting them on these platforms and finding where you can put these properties at too, right? So really think about the unit types that you guys want to be furnishing and putting on these platforms. And that's the second tip. It really is important to find out what your unit type is, because from my experience, seeing people, because I'm a realtor and investor, so I see this every day and I do it as well, right? So there is a different level of knowledge and maintenance that you have if you have a mobile home and it breaks down versus if you have a home and it breaks down, right? There's just different intricacies in there that you need to know. And your maintenance man, who is good with, we'll say, homes, he may not be good with mobile homes. So you really want to get specific on the type of unit that you guys will be putting on the platform. All right, so think about that. Number 3, first of all, let me just say this is in no specific order. These are just some tips that I wrote down, right? I probably got about 10 here maybe, so it's no specific order. But the third tip of today's video is actually going to be the location. Really thinking about where you guys are going to be investing at. My specific preference is to start in your backyard, you know, where you are living at right now. And it's a lot easier. You may be like this experienced real estate investor who has properties all over the world and you want to do Airbnb. That's a little bit different than someone who is just getting started, looking to start making some passive income. So this video is for the person who is just getting started into this business model. I say start in your backyard because you know that area a lot better, right? Like, you know where you're gonna go get your furniture from, you know the schools, you know the parks, you know the areas, your competence. So your knowledge base is a little bit higher. So your confidence in actually starting this Airbnb business is gonna be higher because you're more familiar with the area. I don't even know if I said that right. Did I say that right? Familiar? You'll be more familiar. That's a weird word for me today, but you'll be more familiar with the area. So start in your backyard, and location does matter, right, guys? So there's so many tools that you can actually look up to find out what is a good area to have an Airbnb business. For instance, I know this may seem crazy. A lot of people don't actually think about this. Like, where should I research data to go find out where should I start my Airbnb business in? Start at Airbnb. So you should start at Airbnb because that's the actual platform that you're going to be on in the first place. And you can actually see what the price for sizable houses are, what type of, you know, furniture they have, what's their styles, what are people preferring. And you can read people's reviews to see what they say about these hosts who have these properties. So you can look on Airbnb to research all of that data. And you can also look at AirDNA. AirDNA is a tool that I use as well. And you can see what are some of the areas. It even grades it. So if you guys want to see AirDNA, it costs, but if you click the link below, they'll give you like a little discount for like the first month or the first year. It just depends on how many markets you guys want. I just tell you guys, just start out with one market, one zip code, and it'll be a whole lot cheaper and affordable for you guys. But if you guys want the AirDNA link, just click the link below. It'll take you right to it in the show notes, okay? But Airbnb is also a place that you guys want to research and really get a feel for the city, get a feel for what customers are saying, and that's a great place to start, all right? My fifth tip is buying the property. How are you going to purchase the property? And that kind of goes back to, are you going to lease or are you going to own? But when it comes to, let's say you're going to buy a property, then you might want to get familiar with the banking, and credit unions are the greatest place to start buying a property, because you might want to do something like a house hack, right? Maybe you don't own a house, and if you want to purchase your first Airbnb, then you can get a personal loan and go buy a house and house hack that property, set it up, and you know, on the weekends or times that you're out of town, you can go ahead and put the property on Airbnb. That's actually how we got started. So we had no idea where we were going to start, and we literally started in our backyard. So it was called like the family fun home or something like that. And anytime we would go out of town, we just put the property on Airbnb. And like the first week, we made $1,000, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is definitely better than my rental properties. So we started in our backyard, and you could house hack. So when it comes to buying the property, getting a personal loan, you know, and that's just like buying a home. Make sure you get pre-qualified. Find out, you know, what your credit score is and where you need to be to go purchase a property. Putting 3% down on your own personal property and house hacking that thing is a cool way to do it, right? But there's another way too of buying a property, which is I've also done it this way because I just bought another property, but I actually bought this one with a commercial loan. That's another way you can buy a property, with a commercial loan. So it was 20% down. I can tell you from my own experience, the process was a little bit easier than doing a personal loan because they literally underwrote it one time. They didn't have to look at our credit 57,000 times during the process. I didn't have to give all of my information to them 4 or 5 times. They didn't ask a lot of questions, and they even did a drive-by appraisal. So think about how you're going to buy your property, because buying it with a personal loan and house hacking it is a way, but also doing a commercial loan as well. And in another video, I'll actually share what you need to know when you're going to buy a property with a commercial loan, okay? So let's get to the next one. So the next tip is renovating the home. Really think about how you're gonna be designing this property. And you can get your ideas from, you know, Pinterest, magazines, and just looking on Airbnb as well, and seeing what other homeowners, or hosts as we would call them, how they're furnishing their property. And I think the biggest thing that we learned about furnishing our property is actually like having a renovation budget. Our first one, we didn't have I don't think we had a budget. Like, babe, did we have a, oh, she's not here. Sorry. Oh, she was here. I just got thrown off track a little bit. So yeah, we had to think about a renovation budget. We didn't have a renovation budget, and you really want to think about that. And we went to, once we actually got this thing figured out, places like Facebook, Target, IKEA, Walmart, garage sales, Goodwill, even. We even went to Goodwill, Amazon. We thought about, where are we going to get these items from to furnish the property, you know, like rugs and TVs and even the back thing. I forget what the thing is, the thing that holds the TV. I can't even think today. Comment below, what is the thing called whenever you put the TV on the wall and that thing holds the TV up? So just comment below and let me know the words, guys. I completely forgot what that thing is called. It's gonna bother me for the rest of the day, matter of fact. So, but anyway, where are you gonna get your furniture, your beds? We're going to get your cups and things like that. And just really think about, you know, using Pinterest and other Airbnb hosts to give you ideas about how you're going to be renovating the property. All right. And then furnishing. What is your unit style? So it kind of goes in the same with renovation. We have traveled quite a bit, so we got our ideas from some of the Airbnbs that we had experienced over the United States. and really kind of put our ideas together. I think our last one is more of like a bohemian style. You know, even thinking about renovating and furnishing, I think furnishing is like the harder. That is going to take the most mental work, but you want to do these things up front for sure, because Airbnb is a judgment review platform, and you want to get these things started right in the beginning, because as soon as you decide to say, you know what, I'll go ahead and do that later, well, that's going to affect your reviews, which is going to affect if they let you be on the platform, which is going to affect your exposure, which is going to affect your money. Right? So we want to start out on the right foot for sure. Okay. But you really want to stand out. I can definitely tell you what I've learned from doing Airbnb, because I'm building my business and I'm sharing the journey along with you guys. What I've learned is how to stand out with furniture. And it took actually one person actually told me this, and I have made it like a rule in every property that we have. They said that they were going to bring like some anti-disinfectant, and they were going to spray the whole place. And I was like, why are you going to spray the place? Like, it's a great property. And they said, well, we actually don't like fabric. We actually like leather, because we can trust that, you know, leather doesn't have like odors and things sitting inside of them. And no matter how you clean them, you know, with the regular fabric, it gets inside the fabric. And I thought about that and I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling me that. We'll never have fabric in our properties. So when you think about, you know, furnishing your property, think about the customer and think about your own experience as well, what you guys prefer. All right. So here's the next tip. What type of experience are you going to be giving your Airbnb customers? Is it going to be budget friendly, or is it going to be like this premium experience? And because there are two different type of hosts on there, right? When you even look on Airbnb, make sure you guys go on Airbnb today. And just to feel the difference of experience, I want you guys to, whatever city you guys are thinking about investing into, actually put in like a really low budget, you know, maybe something from $50 to $200 a night. And then go in there and look at something for like $500 to $1,000 a night, and look at the amenities. And you can tell the difference between a premium experience. Like premium properties may have like catering, serve breakfast, and may have like pools there, or they may have car services. But if you do a budget one, it's budget friendly and the experience is different. So what type of experience do you want to have? Because that also determines your location. You know what I mean? So you should look up Joshua Tree on Airbnb and just see the experiences. Those are premium experiences for people out there. Look at those. And then look at some place like your home, your own state where you guys are at, and stay in that lower budget, and you can tell what that experience is. Budget or premium doesn't mean it's better or worse. It just means that you're going to deliver a different type of experience, because your property may come with catering if you want to go premium, or it may not if you're going to go with budget. All right. Here's just a tip to know. Keep track of your receipts and your money, how much money you're actually putting into this property, because it can get a hassle, you know, just having receipts everywhere, credit cards everywhere. Trust me, I am speaking from personal experience and from experience that I have with other investors. Are you telling me somebody called me? They really called? I'm not even going to answer the phone. There's no way I'm answering the phone. So anyway, I am yeah, okay, good, yeah. Anyway, okay. Keep track of your receipts, because it can get hard. All these other places that you guys are getting material and supplies from, keep track of your receipts or put them on a credit card, but make sure that you keep track of those things, because you really want to know how much money you're actually putting into this property, so you can be able to tell, you know, when you're going to start making profits. You've got this property furnished, and now we're actually about to put this property on the market. So let's actually talk about some tips when you're putting this house on the Airbnb platform. Before you do that, you really want to get what I would call is your power team. And your power team is, that's most of the time it's going to be your contractor, cleaning team, handyman, lawn service. If you have a pool, you know, you probably have a pool person, and you want to get these people up front before you put this property on the market. And here's why. Remember what I told you, Airbnb is this review platform. So if you put that property up and somebody stays in there and they give you 5 stars, and then you don't have a cleaning team, and the next person that's coming in there walks into this property that is crapped and messed up and not clean, then you're going to get horrible reviews. Airbnb is going to come reach out to you and they're going to say, hey, you better fix this, or we're going to take you off the platform. really your cleaning service, they really double as your like property manager because they're there the most, right? They're there, somebody gets out, they're there cleaning up the property. They are really the eyes at the property the most. So they really are your property manager. So you really want to make sure you have somebody who can respond and communicate with you and can get that property clean before the next booking. Like a bonus tip, and say, try to get two of those. Try to get two cleaning people, two handyman, two contractors, two lawn service companies. Because if one isn't available for that time, you got to think about it. A lot of these people are doing services for other hosts. So sometimes if they're just not available, at least you've got a backup. So that would be my bonus tip when it comes to having your power team. All right. So let's get to the next tip, which is actually about cameras and locks on your property. This is very important for you and for your customers. And here's my stance on cameras. Nobody wants to be watched while you're in a property, right? So don't have cameras inside the property, but you do want to have them on the outside, you know, the porch and the patio and the balcony and things like that, for your own safety and for the customer's safety. Do not have cameras on the inside of your property. That would be weird. Just imagine yourself as a customer. Do you want people really watching what you're watching, how you're sleeping, what you're saying? It would just be weird, right? So don't put any cameras on the inside, but have them on the outside. So that goes to the next point, which is locks. And I'm a really big fan of having smart locks because I virtually do this thing and I never have to be at the property. In fact, somebody checked into one of our properties today. All I did was I opened up the app, and if you go in the show notes below, you can actually see the smart lock that I use. I'm a big fan of it, but somebody checked in our property today. I just looked up, opened up the app, put in the time. I think they were going to be there for like 5 days. So I put it from today until the 5th day that they were out. I set the limits. So you guys will be able to set the limits, set the date, set the code. And then I just copy and paste and just sent it over to them through the Airbnb platform. So I'm a big fan of having smart locks because you don't want to wonder if people are making extra copies of keys. If they lose keys, then you've got to go get copies and bring them. In today's world, we have all this technology. So go ahead and use smart locks because it's easy access. And for the customers, they don't need to meet you all the time just to have access to the property. So my next tip is let's make a listing, right? We're putting this property onto Airbnb, and here are my tips about making your listing profitable. All right, guys, so I know it said a few minutes later, but the truth is it's been a whole day. Had to get my wife ready to head out of town. So let's get back to making the listing, okay? And we want to start with the photos now. What type of photos are we going to take? Well, if you go on the Airbnb platform, you can see $300, $400, $500 a night. Those type of posts, you can see those professional-like photos. And you can pay someone, and it's normally between like $100 and $250 for them to get the photos. But if you don't want to do that, then you can take them yourself and use the inspiration on Airbnb of those higher price points to see the type of photos you want. And what you can do is really highlight the strengths of your property. Great furniture. If you have art, you want to highlight that. Feature walls, accent walls, great pool. If you have a backyard with a view, you want to highlight the strengths of the property because that's the first thing that people see whenever they look at the property. Before they decide to inquire, they want to look at the photos just like you do whenever you're looking at properties and hotels and places to go stay. You're looking at the photos, then you're looking at the reviews. So the photos being the first thing, you want to make sure you have well-lit rooms and highlight every single area, all right? And the second thing that you want to do with those photos is allow those photos to tell a story, because if you're showing it, what I've noticed with some people on the platform is that the first photo may be very intriguing, right? And it may be like the living room. And then the next photo is the kitchen, one photo of the kitchen. And then the next photo is the bathroom. And then the next photo after that is a bedroom. So the brain is like, man, I'm looking for more photos of this one thing that I'm seeing, but you're showing me 4 or 5 different things. It just confuses people. So make sure that you order it out, write down your notes and say, hey, I'm going to take, I would say at least a minimum of about 25 to 30 photos, but I would do it in groups, you know. For if you look at our property, if you look at this property right here, you can see that the first few photos are showing the living room. Then the next few photos are showing another area. Then the next few photos are showing another area. And that's the way you want to do it. You really don't want to have it scrambled. But what you also want to do is take point of view photos, because that projects that vibe. It will tell the other person, imagine yourself sitting Like this photo right here that I have on one of my properties, there's breakfast and there's the coffee, and it's telling them, imagine yourself eating coffee here in this room. What would that feeling feel like? It's very relaxing. So you want to take feeling photos. You want to take photos that create a vibe. All right. My next tip would be the description and the title. You don't want this to say, hey, bedroom available or house available. You really want it to say the same thing, kind of like the photos present a vibe. For instance, if you look at this one right here, it says Harmony Haven near shopping and mountains. So when they're looking at the photos and they're seeing the title, that's what they're anticipating, right? They're going to have a beautiful house that's going to be near shopping and near mountains. And then you want the photos to actually back up what you're saying. All right. So the copy is so important because that's another thing that they're looking at. They want to know, what am I going to expect whenever I'm living in this property or when I'm staying at this property for however long. So one of the things you can use is really like strong words like imagine, magical, haven, loft, spa-like. Really strong words like that so that they can expect that feeling whenever they're at your property. So make sure that you have really strong copy, really strong description in your Airbnb description and on the title too. All right. My next tip is, before you actually make the house go live, you should actually get some friends to try to stay there for a day or two, or maybe yourself to stay there. The reason why I say this is so important is because living it like you're in a regular house, but you'll notice if you're there for a day or two, you'll start to think of, oh man, I need some utensils, or I'm going to go eat. You'll recognize that maybe you missed something on your checklist. So make sure that you stay there, or ask some friends to stay there and ask them for some feedback of what was it like staying there. You might find out that maybe the AC isn't strong enough, or the heat isn't strong enough, or you might not have extra bed sheeting or something like that. That way you can really anticipate what other people are going to be experiencing whenever they're at your property. All right. My next 3 tips about preparing yourself is really going to be like a package deal. All right. The first thing I would say is respect the business. I know that people want to do this business so they can quickly make money, but you really want to treat it like a business. And that's going to be based off your customer service. How quickly are you responding to people? Do you have house rules so that other customers can know what to do when they check in, to check out, what to expect when they check in and check out? And really treat it like a business, because this is going to be the business that's going to help you guys grow and create passive income for yourself. So really put some respect on it and just treat it like a business, because that's what it is. All right. My next tip would just be prepare for a learning curve. It doesn't matter how many videos that you watch. The truth is, we don't have the experience that you're going to have, because this is your business. These are your customers, your house rules. So just prepare for a learning curve. But the best way that you can kind of shorten that learning curve is make sure you have a community, and you guys can always like, comment, and subscribe on my videos. And I'm always here to check you guys out. Make sure I respond back, DM you. Check out my other social media networks if you want, and just ask me questions. But find other Airbnb hosts, and you can do that on Facebook, and you can go to meetups and just find other investors so you can have their support. All right. As you grow in your business, you'll start to learn that some of these tasks that you guys do, responding to customers and having lock codes changed and things like that, you can actually automate that. And there's so many great automation tools. I like to use Guesty. So make sure you guys check out Guesty whenever you're growing. But the truth is, when you first started, you got 1 to 5 properties, you really don't need any automation, because you can probably manage that yourself. But when you start to grow, just know that you will be needing some automation to kind of just be another employee, if you will, to send out these messages to people, so you don't have to always do it on the phone or the computer whenever a customer asks a question. And then the other part of automation, why it's so great, is because sometimes people check in very late, or they check in very early, and you may be at work, or you may be asleep or out of town. And when that automation system is put into place, whenever they ask questions, some of that automation can go out and respond to them anytime without you having to think about it. All right. I would just say to invest your money back into the business. Trust me, I did it. Other friends of mine who are Airbnb hosts did it as well. As soon as we started making money, we started spending the money, and we didn't really invest it back into the business. I would definitely tell you guys, make sure that you allow the money to stack up and grow so that you can maybe go buy more properties. But what I like to do now is, every property has a name for me. So one of the properties that we call, the one I've been showing today, I call it the debt house. And that house just pays debt. It has no other purpose other than paying debt. Make sure that you have a purpose with that. I know that you guys are going to take some of the money and spend it and travel and celebrate with it, because we did the same thing too. So don't feel bad about that. But make sure that you have an overall purpose of what you're going to do with the funds. Maybe that's to buy another property. Maybe that's to pay down some debt. Maybe that's to get a kid through college. Whatever the purpose is, just make sure that you know what you are doing with that property. So when the income comes in, you already know what you're going to be doing with that. Make sure you take some time to celebrate too, because this is a big deal. I mean, you're starting this Airbnb business and feels like it took forever, but trust me, it's going to be a slow and consistent process. If you guys like any of the advice I gave in this video, please like and subscribe so that the next video I put out, you guys will be the first to get the notification. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys on the other side. Y'all have a great day, because you absolutely deserve it. Peace.